welcome to Earth Harmony Home. I'm Debra Gehrke. Today we continue our series of fantastic cooking segments with the founding chef of the Blossoming Lotus, Mark Reinfeld, and some of his friends from the restaurant as well. Mark, what are we going to do today?
Today we're going to be working with kale, it's a great dark leafy green, and it is high in vitamin C, K, and A. It has great fiber and just a wonderful, one of the most healing foods around actually. And here to show how easy these superfoods can be to be included in your diet is one of the founding members of the Blossoming Lotus, Miss Jessica Murray.
Let's welcome Jessica. Thank you so much for joining us, Jessica.
Thank you for having me.
Come on in. This is your kitchen right here at the One Love Gardens on the beautiful Garden Island of Kauai. Isn't this awesome? Just standing here with the breeze and the beautiful flowers and plants. It
is.
What a great place to experience.
This is one of my favorite places on earth.
So you're going to be making something called crispy kale with us.
I am. Crispy kale is a very popular dish at our house. We eat it probably 4 times a week. It's great for kids. Not only is it great for them to eat it, but it's great for them to make it. It's fast, it's easy. One of the most important things to remember is to preheat your oven. So 350 degrees.
This is a really interesting thought to me because most of the time I think of greens as either being in a salad or we can steam greens, beans and greens, things like that. But to do crispy greens,
yes,
I would think they would just go completely soggy.
Well, that's a good point actually, because this form of kale, which we call curly kale, is really the only kale that will work in this recipe. The other ones will do exactly that. They'll just go very soggy and you'll have to cook them for a really long time in order to get them to the crispness that you want to have this at.
Okay, so that's a really good point. We need to really point out that this is curly leaf kale, because kale, a lot of the times in the store you'll see the real big flat leaf kale.
Yeah, there's many varieties. So the curly kale is the one you want. You want to wash it in your sink or soak it in the sink with some vegetable wash to get the dirt and bugs that may be on it off. And then very simply you just, because kale is fibrous, which is why we're going to cook it, because it's very nutritious, but it's difficult for the body to digest and sometimes doesn't taste very good. So you're going to rip off the leaves from the stem. Some of the smaller stems up near the top are not a big deal because they're easy to chew. But for kids especially, you want to make sure not to get the stems off the bottom.
We want to make sure and give them just the parts that they like, right?
Exactly.
If we give them something they can't chew, then they may be turned off by it.
Exactly. And this is the part they like to do, the ripping.
Can I help too?
You can.
Okay, good. Yay.
There's only going to be so much we can fit in our little toaster oven today.
That's true.
But at home I make giant cookie sheets full of it.
How long does it keep? Or do you find that that's not an issue because the kids eat it so fast there is none to keep?
Yeah, there's none to ever to keep around. It's usually the first thing to go on the table.
Even if you make cookie sheets full of it, it's the first thing to go.
Yeah, well it reduces a lot, like most greens when they're cooked. Okay, so we have enough of that. If you want to keep going, you can. We take our baking sheet and just simply lay out a nice even layer of kale. The more dispersed the kale is, the faster it'll cook. You know, when you're making a lot of it, you end up with a big pile. It takes just a little bit longer to cook that way. So a nice even layer, and simply put it in the oven.
So you don't add anything to it at this point?
Not yet.
And was there oil on the pan or anything like that?
It's not going to stick. You don't want to, you know, we try not to cook oils too much because it turns their the fats to trans fats and whatnot. It's not very healthy. So just cook it straight for about 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, depends on how crispy you like it. We like it pretty crispy in our house, so that way the kids don't have to chew it a lot. It's just fast like a chip, you know. They'll knock it down. So 10 to 15 minutes in the oven while you're doing other things with the rest of your meal. It's a great side dish. It's a great snack all by itself, like instead of popcorn.
Okay, so I think we have crispy kale.
I think we do. Yes.
Wow.
A little brown around the edges is good. That means it's going to be crunchy throughout. So, into your bowl it goes.
Can you hear that? It's crispy. She's taking it off the pan and it's crispy. This is amazing to me. It really is.
Yes, it's going to be amazing when you eat it.
It doesn't take a lot, obviously, for me to get pretty darn excited, especially if it's around food.
Olive oil. Just a bit. Nutritional yeast. A lot.
Blowing in the wind.
And salt. A dash. And then you use your hands because it really gets the oil and everything around the best way. You can use forks if you like, but then you can't lick your fingers afterwards.
Takes a little bit of the fun away, especially if you're doing this with your children, which is what you recommend. This is a great thing to do with the kids.
They love to get their hands on their food. We all know that. So toss it around like a good salad. You hear that crunching?
I think this is such a great idea. I haven't tasted it yet, but I know it's going to be fantastic. I'm about to taste it, though, so
please
keep your eyes on this right here. Oh, I want a really crispy one. This is really crispy right here. Oh, did you hear that? Crispy. Yum! Seriously! Wow! Mmm. So this is what it looks like. You know, what an incredible thing to do. We started out with just fresh curly leaf kale. I probably have it all over my lips right now. And put it in the oven for
10-15 minutes at the most.
Just until it's crispy. You want to see the edges of the leaves maybe going a little bit brown?
The edges should go a little bit brown. Throw it in the bowl. Olive oil, nutritional yeast, salt. Toss it. Ready to go. Perfect side dish or snack.
I'm telling you seriously, if there's anybody at home, adults or children, who are concerned about eating greens, this is the way to do it. It's so good. What a great way to get these dark green leafy vegetables into your diet. Thank you so much, Jessica, for sharing this.
My pleasure, really.
So, I'm still chewing. I want more. But I'll tell you where to find this. This incredible technique and recipe is in the quick and easy section of the latest ebook from the Blossoming Lotus restaurant called The 7-Minute Chef. You can find it in a link on our show notes for today's show, and you'll also find it at 7minutechef.com. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to keep eating the kale.
Aloha.